Good morning, everybody, and a happy Wednesday morning to you. I just had to put this as the opening picture because it just shows the contrast. And once again, we have some really good memes and a really funny video after we see the royal family. So let's jump in and get busy, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off this morning. It's June 9th. The Duchess of Edinburgh, Sophie, went to visit the Northampton Market Square to engage with the community and support local initiatives. She looked absolutely gorgeous upon her arrival, talking with people. She arrived in the town center square. It looks like they were setting up some stuff. If you look behind and to the left, there's some baskets. So I'm pretty sure there were some market stalls. But as usual, they didn't cover her as good as they could have. So after that, she went to open the Northampton Mountain Bike Park, which I think is right up her alley. We know that she's a biker. I just love her. A big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us what Sophie was wearing. She looks gorgeous. Let's move on. We're going to talk about Sir Tim Lawrence. He was at the Royal National Lifeboat Institute. Don't forget that he is the vice president of that charity and the former deputy chair. He went to visit the Arklow station in Ireland. He got a tour of their new 3.1 million pound Shannon class lifeboat that's going to be named later this month. He also saw the boathouse and the gift shop. I love the fact that Tim Lawrence, Anne's husband, is stepping up to, take on patronages and help out. I just love that. All right, let's move on to King Charles, who arrived by royal train. He went to Lancaster. He was greeted by the Lord Lieutenant Amanda Parker and Mark Wynne, Chief Executive of the County Council. There actually were a lot of people at the station waiting to greet him. It was amazing. Lots of security as well, and people were cheering and clapping. I wish I could play some of the sound from some of these videos because I think people think that when he arrives, he's booed or something, or there's just not a lot going on, but that's just not true. People were really happy to see him, and they were cheering and clapping as he was walking the stairs. And look at him go. He walks up the stairs better than I do, and he headed straight to the castle. So Charles's car arrives at Lancaster Castle. He greeted the crowds. He met the mayor of Lancaster, Councillor Margaret Pattison. And of course, they immediately jumped into the ceremony of the keys. The woman presenting the keys to him was Pam Barker, who's constable of the castle. And just so you know, this ceremony of the keys is a tradition that dates back to 1851 under Queen Victoria. Notably, in 2015, Queen Elizabeth was presented with the keys in a similar ceremony at the same time, at the same site. He looks great, I think. Look at the pace that he's keeping up. Anyway, they finished the ceremony. He waved, and then he headed up a very steep incline into the castle. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you there was a anti-monarchist group there that were being really rude, and one of the pro-monarchy people threatened to rip the megaphone out of one guy's hand and was like, it was getting ugly. He spoke to the police, who threatened to arrest him if he touched those people. He said, that's the only reason I'm not touching you, is I don't want to get arrested. Those people are just freaking rude. So anyway, Charles walks up there, and he then met with members of the Fijian choir, who formed the 1st Battalion of the Duke of Lancaster's regiment. Now remember, he is the Duke of Lancaster, the king is, while he's there. So I think this was really nice. So the king then went inside where he met and spoke to representatives from local businesses that were showcasing their work. There were some community groups, including staff from Beyond Radio and invited guests. So while he was in there also, there were some vendors. I believe there was some cheese, and there were, people were showing off their wares, I guess is the word for it. Now, interestingly enough, and this is the kind of stuff I love, there was a 101-year-old veteran, and the king praised him as amazing and told him to keep drinking whiskey. His name was Richard Brock. He was in the D-Day landings, and he was at the ceremony of keys at Lancaster Castle and remembered him from a visit to Normandy last year. Yeah, I think that's good advice. Keep drinking alcohol. And listen, if it works for him, it works. And then King Charles headed down to meet the crowds. There were a lot of people there. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like there were more pro-monarchy people there than anti-monarchists. It's like they always drown them out. It's such a small little group. Now, while he was there, he also got a bouquet from some local children, gorgeous flowers as usual. I love the fact that the kids love him and they're going to grow up loving the monarchy, as they should. All right, now when he was done here, he wasn't done. He then went into the forest of Bowland to help open the Whitewell Coronation Woodland Garden that was created with the help of local volunteers and Lancaster-based garden designer Teresa Potter for the community to enjoy. They asked the king to put the final touches into the stone wall, to finish the stone wall. And so he did. I just think this is the kind of stuff I like about him. Now, obviously the weather was coming and going, but okay. Listen, he looks great for somebody who's undergoing cancer treatment. It's pretty obvious at this point. They're not looking to cure him. They're looking to maintain him. And I think they're doing a great job. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Prince Andrew really quickly. We know he's not a working royal anymore, but he's still living in the Royal Lodge in Windsor with Sarah Ferguson. Remember, they signed a 75-year lease from the Crown Estate in 2003. And even though King Charles is like, dude, you need to move out of there and go to a smaller home, he's not moving. He's staying in this 30-bed mansion. He's paying for his own security. He wants to stay in his home, and he's taking on the responsibility of the property's maintenance from his own wallet. Now, the reason they're saying he won't budge and he doesn't want to move into Harry and Meghan's former Windsor home, Frogmore Cottage, they're saying, is because it's not grand enough for him. It's too small because it's only 5,000 square feet. Remember, Meghan said she could barely stand up in it. All right, you guys, it's time to move on to our Harry Meghan stuff. And what's being said is that there's a social media blitz going on because Meghan is ready to monetize her children because that's really all she has left. We had a media blitz around Lily's 4th birthday. And then we have a little bit of her parenting and the myth love Meghan and the coyness around the children who they never show, but they're always alluded to. It's like dangling carrots, like the toddler tea party with no children. And then let's not forget we had Lily playing Candyland. All are invited. She's using the children. And now she's using the children as clickbait to promote her new online shop dubbed Meghan's Mall because she's tried everything else. And despite being born in LA, only 4 in 10 Americans actually like her. So she's absolutely going to now start monetizing the children, which how many times have I told you guys in the last 3 years, she's holding those kids back for the right price. Remember, when they had the Spotify deal, they had Archie come on to say Happy Christmas to try to get the clicks, and it didn't work. And now Meghan's using her daughter's picture in her As Ever stuff to try to get people to come on and want to buy products. She knows people don't like her. She's hoping the kids will be the draw. I have been telling you guys for years that she was going to monetize the daughter. There will be Lilibet clothing, Lilibet dolls, Lilibet this, Lilibet that. That's why they wanted the Queen's name. They're going to monetize the Queen's nickname. She's always been the favored child, the daughter. That's very obvious from everything we're seeing. Now, really quickly, for those of you who are saying that it was not Marcus Anderson in the car, it has been identified that that was Marcus Anderson in the car, at Disney, I mean. They're saying that Doria took a lot of the pictures there. I don't know if that's true or not, but I want you to look at this picture. In the back seat, you have Marcus Anderson on the left, and who is that on the right? Some people are saying that it's Daniel Martin. That doesn't look like Daniel Martin to me. I believe that's the nanny. She can't even take her kids to Disney without the nanny. Do you guys remember this picture from years ago? Look on the right there. That could be the nanny pushing that poor kid's head down so she doesn't get her picture taken. Now, just so you know, this trip, this 2 days, cost anywhere from $3,000 to £5,000. That's about $7,000 because celebrity guests are driven around by a personal tour guide backstage. Now, I received a comment from somebody. I think you'll find this interesting, so listen to this. One of my subscribers lives in Seal Beach, California, in a gated retirement community, and some people there still work at Disney, and so she has the inside note about their visit to Disneyland. She said she knows someone who works full-time at the park. She said they were there, and because of their celebrity status, they got VIP service. They went to the rides under the park, backstage as they call it, since all the rides have a private entrance, and that is why nobody saw them. Disney does this to keep problems with crowd control under control. Not because they're that special or being celebrities, but that's just the way Disney handled it. She said her friend was coming out of the break room and there was a lot of commotion, and they realized that it was Harry and Meghan walking by with the children. She said Harry spoke to her friend as he went by, but Meghan just smiled. And she said, I asked about the children, but she said they went by so fast she didn't get a good look. Also, the picture of the children that was taken on the balcony is a private suite, she said, that was originally built for the Disney family but never used because, Walt died before it was completed. She said it was used for storage and then restored as a VIP suite, which we already know all of that. Anyway, she says that's what I heard from her friend. I believe it. I did a little research, and sure enough, there are tunnels underneath Disney, California. This is how people used to get from place to place. This is where the staff goes for lunch breaks. This is how they're able to get to their stations without fighting the crowds. It was like a series of tunnels. So yes, this is how Harry and Meghan went through the entire park without people getting pictures of them. They were under the park. So much for waiting on lines. Well, Sussex Squad Retard Finder on Twitter noticed how much Meghan loves Disney, and we have another spoof video. Watch this. All right, let's go back to the twerking video again. If you can believe this, she's claiming that all the criticism came from Britain and that she doesn't care because she wants to connect with Gen Z, which demands viral moments, and she doesn't care at all about the UK. That's not where the money's at. And they're claiming that even though there's been a lot of backlash, Meghan is actually very thrilled by the reaction she got in the United States. She seriously doesn't realize that people in the United States don't like her. So they're counting it as a win, which can only be a boost for sales. And remember, her products are only in the United States, not in the UK. So it's just, she's going to do anything to get attention. Now, I have to tell you, GB News, Ben Leo said now that she's releasing videos of her twerking to promote that she's got new jam and wine coming, it's a bit of a fall from grace. And royal expert Charlotte Griffin said, I think it is, but the thing is about being in the royal family is it isn't a big money spinner. She's always been focused on becoming a millionaire or a billionaire, and you have to have private jets, and you can't spend big money when you're in the royal family. You can't fly private. You can't have this luxurious lifestyle. She thought she was marrying a billionaire. And in the meantime, she said, I knew Harry before Meghan. He has never, ever wanted to be famous, and I can't believe what a 180 he's done. And just to be part of these viral videos is just so unlike the Harry that I knew back in the day. He hated this kind of stuff, but he just wants to be happy and keep his family together, so he'll do whatever he's told by the sound of things. Wow. Now, let's get into this whole HRH thing. I told you guys yesterday that when they applied for the passports for the kids, they wanted it to have the HRH on there. And the reason being is it's come out that Harry wants the children to have the option to be working royals. But we all know that's not going to happen. But the point is, Meghan and Harry made an agreement with the Queen not to use the titles HRH. Full stop. They were not supposed to use them. That was the spirit of the agreement. So you can imagine the shock when everybody found out that Meghan was still putting HRH on her correspondence that she was sending to her friends. She absolutely broke the spirit of the agreement. She denied breaking the rules. What Meghan said was that this was not a breach of the agreement because they're not using it commercially or in public, just private. It was just use of a private. And it was for a gift given more than a year ago. So it's not being used to promote jam and food products, but it is being used. Do you guys remember what Meghan Markle said when she was being interviewed on Oprah? Let me remind you.
The grandeur surrounding this stuff is an attachment that I don't personally have, right? I've been a waitress, an actress, a princess, a duchess. I've always just still been Meghan, right? So for me, I'm clear on who I am, independent of that stuff. And the most important title I will ever have is mom. I know that.
So Meghan lied. She obviously was still very attached to the titles. And it's being said that William was absolutely livid because she broke the Sandringham agreement. So what's being said is that when Harry takes over as king, he is absolutely going to pull those HRH titles. Listen to this.
And the problem is that Meghan, they agreed with the Queen that they would stop using the title, full stop. They just agreed. We will not use the title anymore. But Meghan has started using it again. And this is a massive insult. It's a massive slap in the face. It's very provocative. It's a big rattling of the cage. So the Sussex thing is not in danger. It's the HRH bit.
It's the
That's
HRH.
not actually a title. It's called a style. But it's you know, the HRH is very rare. It is very valuable. And it is very dangerous if it gets devalued. And I think William's point is that they have devalued it and they have betrayed it, and it can be removed very easily, and it should be. And I think also for William, it's where drawing a line under the whole thing. It's like, stop going on about reconciliation. Let's just not talk about this anymore. We're taking the HRH off you. Good luck. See you later. You know, so yeah, he's going to do it. He is going to do it. And I think it will be done. I'm told it's going to be done very quickly.
And it's being said that Catherine is standing by William's decision. I agree. All right, let's move on. And finally, if you can believe this one, they're saying that Meghan plans to add hotels and restaurants to her As Ever brand. This is going to be places to stay, as well as temporary lodgings and, quote, provisions of food and drink. Sounds to me like she's trying to recreate Soho House. As usual, she has no ideas of her own. The question is, if she had a hotel, would you actually want to stay there? I wouldn't. And I don't get it. Literally, her As Ever operated for 45 minutes. She can't even restock jam. So she can't get her trademarks in order. She can't restock stuff. She hasn't even proved that her company is profitable. She's trying to expand, in my opinion, too quickly. It's not going to work. It did not take long for some more memes to come out. We have some from Meghan Markle parody, Royal Terrier, a bunch. Just enjoy. My goodness, you guys know what to do. Hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box and you'll find the links to my Twitter, Gettr, Rumble, email, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale on Amazon, and a link to my Amazon wish list, as well as a physical address. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.